back to Architectural Technology 101. So the different scenes that are available in Lumion are theirs, and the one that I wanted to use is basically a white background because this one will allow me to easily crop out unnecessary stuff like the landscape and all that stuff, and easily crop out even the sky, and then fit my building into the side pictures that I wanted. So I will be using Lumion really to render, and also as I'm rendering I'll be basing on the angle of the sun from the images and the way the shadows are casting and the hue and all of that of the light and the atmosphere of the area. So this is basically where I'll be doing the rendering on a basic white background. Heading back to Archicad, it's time for us now to pick the colors and textures we'd want to work with. Maybe you haven't necessarily chosen the colors or the textures you'd want or the materials per se, but you do know where you want your contrast to be. Basically, by contrast, I'm saying where the difference should be, whether this should be a different color, this should be a different color to this, or the windows should be a different color to the windows at the bottom, different colors to the windows at the top, and all those kinds of things. So from what I'll do here, I haven't applied. I have applied one or two materials, but generally the principle was this: these cubes, these dynamic cubes here, these cubism-esque things. I wanted them to have a different color, feel, and texture. And then and then the more solid, flat surface or plumb surfaces, I just wanted them to also have their own different color and texture. And then this part that protrudes out, this heavy, bold part of the structure, I also wanted to have its own color and texture. And then the lettering, I wanted it to be a different color and texture as well, but something that's able to light up in the evening. I don't know if I'll be able to create an evening render, but if I do, I guess it's going to be fun doing that. And then I'd want this whole area by the canopy here to be a different feel from anything else in the building. Basically, to be maybe a raw concrete, not painted, not well finished, but a basic raw gray concrete with an attachment of either an aluminium and a series of aluminium aluminium screen. I'm still deciding whether it's going to be a black anodized thing or I'm going to have it having a wood look finish to it, or even just use timber as an option if it's worth working. And then I'm gonna have plants and then probably a series of vines or ivy growing into the screen that will create a very interesting approach as you're looking at it. Remember, I'm sitting from this side by the bus stop, so when I'm looking at this building from the bus stop, that's where I'm seeing the dynamic parts of it. But when I'm looking at it from the bus stop, as it rises up out of the rest of the site or the location, this is what I'm looking at it. When I'm looking at it from the road, I'm beginning to see a bit of the dynamism and the formalism. So in terms of materiality, that's basically the idea, the variations, the contrast. Now, in terms of the color, I was thinking mainly this top surface that's separated from this one to either take a red or a black type of stone finish. Basically, I know it's gonna be stone. I've decided on that. It's gonna be stone. It gives me the right texture, and there are a number of buildings that are apartments in Block 7 that use red brick. So definitely, I'm gonna be using brick. I'm still not yet decided whether I'll be using a black type of brick or a red brick. I'll see when I start putting things in Lumion. But one thing that's for sure is this surface is gonna be white. I don't know whether it would be just be a finished plaster or it's going to be a white brick or it's going to be another type of material with heavy texturing or it's going to be concrete well finished and textured. But the idea is it's going to have a very light contrast being white, sort of an empty canvas. And the cubes, I'm not even sure what color I want them, but I do know I want them to have a different contrast. So the brickwork here, the white can be a different shade here. There has to be a different color for the bottom base to sort of define itself as a base and a different function at the bottom. And then the white that we have, I mean the brickwork that we have from here, the red or the gray, continues into the flatter sides here. And these cubes that pull out still continue with a different type of material and texture that's taken from the dynamic aspect of the building. So basically now, once I know what I want to do and the materials and the textures I want, because I know which areas I want textured, so that when I render, I know there's a textural feeling. Like basically this area, this whole area, I really want to fill the brick. That's why I left it blank. I left it blank on purpose, not by mistake. I just wanted, when you look at this building from this angle, you get to see the brick, and the only thing that you get to see that's of a different contrast is the name. So you get to have a feel and a depth, an in-depth sense of the materiality there. So now I just come to the 3D styles, and then I pick the detailed, and then I start um, changing the material basically. So let's just start with this one, which I made as one tall wall. It's not been separated into different levels, and then maybe this is just so that I can easily work in Lumion. Turn it into white gloss. And then there's this one, bit of a tricky setup. Bit of a tricky setup. So I keep changing the materials generally to what I'd like until I have the final material in terms of what I want this thing to look like. So some of the materials I've already picked, but seems like for some I haven't picked yet. So I changed some of them into so generally you just keep changing the different materials into what you'd want until you have the final look that you'd want to use when rendering. So now I am done with the various textures in Archicad, ready to go to Lumion and have a final look at it. Oh, actually, I'm not yet done. I'm left with this. I'm left with this, and I think the windows and doors. For convenience, I just change them to any metal that I can work with, and then maybe a different metal for this one. Maybe the bronze, just in case I want it different. Depends. And then the windows, I quickly change the frames. No, to at least a very black, not ivory, maybe anthracite black. And it takes a bit of some time to calibrate all those and calculate the polygons and sort that out. And after I'm done with those, I have some doors I had created. Basically, they're all the same. Also change it to similar materiality, anthracite black, clear glazing, and generally we are done. Once this is set, I just make sure everything is finalized, and then I live sync. Takes a bit of some time to load, and then also in Lumion takes a little bit of time to pick up, but once it's set, it's set. Yeah, set this side. Okay, I think I like what I see. I just have to raise the model a bit up. Not in thin air, obviously. I think it's set. Normally at this point, because I don't have a very heavy processor, I stop because I'm just using a laptop. I stop, and then if there's any material I want to change, that's when I will change. Okay, for today, let's just stop here. I'll see you in the next part of the tutorial in the series. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification button so that you're always up to date on what's up and what's come out.